In the ancient heart of Kyoto, where temples rise among quiet gardens and stone paths hold centuries of memory, Dior unveiled its Fall 2025 collection. This was not just a runway show. It was a conversation between past and present, between the sacred and the modern, between the East and the West. The chosen stage was the garden of Toji Temple. Built more than 1,200 years ago, Toji is a site of spiritual reflection and architectural grace. Its five-storied pagoda towers above the city, a reminder of permanence. It is here, in this atmosphere of stillness and contemplation, that Dior set out to speak of transformation. At the center of this vision was Maria Grazia Chiuri, Dior's first female creative director and one of the most influential voices in contemporary fashion. Since arriving at Dior in 2016, Chiuri has infused the house with a distinctly feminist sensibility. She has drawn from literature, art, and history to craft collections that speak not only of beauty, but of identity and empowerment. For Fall 2025, Chiuri returned to the theme of metamorphosis. She was inspired by Virginia Woolf's Orlando, a novel of time and transformation, of shifting bodies, shifting selves, and a journey that transcends gender and century. In this collection, Chiuri sought to embody that fluidity, to create garments that hold echoes of the past while pointing towards the future. The collection opened with simplicity, coats with wide sleeves, layered jackets, and dresses whose silhouettes drew from the folds of the kimono. Fabrics shimmered with muted metallics, floral embroidery glowed under Kyoto's filtered light, and a dialogue unfolded between structure and flow. Sheer layers revealed and concealed in equal measure. Lace panels traced the body like memory. Ruffs and Elizabethan collars appeared, but never as costume. Instead, they emerged as reinventions, frames for the face, borders of identity. One of the most striking revivals was the J'adore Dior motif. Once a playful slogan of the early 2000s, it returned transformed, elongated, set into lace, stitched into a new language. What was once commercial now spoke of continuity, a memory reborn into strength. The silhouettes shifted between solidity and air. There were bell-shaped mini-dresses, medieval gowns reinterpreted in embroidered tulle, tailored trenches and crisp white shirts reshaped into new armor for the modern woman. Accessories, too, carried the dialogue. Crossed body bags, leather boots, veils, and singular earrings, each piece adding punctuation to the narrative. But the collection was not only about clothes, it was also about spectacle. Dior transformed the garden into living theater. Models walked a pebbled path that wound across a narrow bridge, a journey mirrored in the theme of metamorphosis. Overhead, projections of birds and celestial forms unfolded, prehistoric wings and asteroids streaking across light. From a central swing, a figure emerged, a moment of ritual that symbolized rebirth. The finale carried the greatest weight. Models lined against the ancient pagoda, forming a tableau that fused modern craft with timeless architecture. Chiuri herself appeared for her bow, framed by centuries of cultural memory and the silhouettes of her own creation. Behind this spectacle lay years of labor. Dior collaborated with Kyoto's Tatsumura textile company, known for its mastery of centuries-old weaving and silversmith techniques. Together, they adapted 16th-century designs into fabrics suited for the present day. One challenge was a silver-based weave whose shine was too strong. Through months of refinement, they softened its brilliance, allowing it to catch light with subtlety rather than glare. Every shimmering panel seen on the runway was the result of dozens of experiments, each fabric tested and rejected until balance was achieved. This attention to craft reflects Dior's ongoing philosophy. Fashion is not just designed, it is built, woven, tested, and lived. It is the work of countless artisans, technicians, and seamstresses whose hands transform vision into reality. The symbolism of the show was everywhere. The bridge across the runway suggested transition. The swing, emergence. Lace and transparency suggested vulnerability, while structured silhouettes spoke of endurance. The revival of archival Dior codes, the kimono drape, the bar jacket, the white shirt, the J'adore motif, suggested continuity, that transformation does not erase the past but carries it forward. Critics responded with reverence. Fashion editors described it as one of Chiuri's boldest statements. Elle praised its medieval revivalism and Elizabethan touches. The Associated Press drew attention to its exploration of gender fluidity in Woolf's Orlando. Others noted that while the show celebrated Chiuri's legacy, it also hinted at a possible turning point, with speculation that her tenure at Dior may soon evolve into a new chapter. In the days that followed, images of the Kyoto show rippled across magazines, social media, and the wider fashion conversation. For buyers and editors, the garments were not just seasonal pieces, but reminders that fashion can still serve as narrative and metaphor. For audiences online, the show was a spectacle of cultural fusion, a moment that felt both ancient and futuristic. Maria Grazia Chiuri's Dior has always been about more than clothing. It has been about identity, about women's voices, about the conversation between heritage and reinvention. With Fall 2025, she returned to those themes in their purest form. She gave us transformation as fabric, memory as silhouette, history as ornament, and the future as possibility. In Kyoto's Temple Gardens, amid silence and stone, Dior Fall 2025 reminded the world that fashion is never only about what we wear. It is about who we are becoming. And in every seam, in every thread, in every shimmering fold of fabric, we are reminded that transformation is eternal.